let's see what the evidence is that Jesus is being identified as the one Lord of Deuteronomy 6:4. Okay, you ready? Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our God, Yahweh is one. Yahuwah Echad. Okay. Zechariah 14:9. And Yahweh will be king over all the earth, and that day Yahweh will be the only one, Yahuwah Echad. Now remember, New Testament's written in Greek. The Bible that they would have used would have been the Greek translation. When they rendered it in Greek, here's how it's rendered. Mark 12:29. Jesus answered, the foremost is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Notice, they use the word Kyrios, or Kurios for Yahweh or Yahweh. Are you seeing it? You guys see it there? They didn't use a form of the divine name, Yahweh or Yahweh. They used the Greek word Kyrios. Okay. Otheos, the word for God. Eloheinu, our Elohim, is Otheos Hemon. Now note, the second use of Yahweh is Kyrios. Kyrios is esteem. Lord, one he is. Remember these words. So any Jew who's a monotheist, who reads the Greek, or any Jew who's a monotheist and speaks Greek, if you say to a Greek-speaking Jew, you got to hear this. If you say to him, Kyrios is esteem, Lord, one he is. Or if you say, is Kyrios, one Lord, that Jew would know you just said in Greek, Jehovah's one Jehovah. You with me there? You can't get around this. There's no way you can get around this. This is just the fact of the language. As much as Greggy manifests and wants to get around it, you can't get around it. It's a fact of the language. Because Paul is a Jew, a Pharisee, a Hebrew of Hebrews. He knows the Old Testament in Greek. So when Paul writes in Greek, okay, watch here. There is only one Lord Jesus Christ, is Kyrios. You see, there's those two words. His Kyrios or His Kyrios. Those who know the Old Testament knows he just said one Jehovah. One Jehovah. You see why scholars are convinced that this is a Christianization of the Shema? But now where the shot comes in, he's Kyrios Jesus Christos. He just said one Jehovah, Jesus Christ. That's why Greggy is manifesting. He cannot accept this. He cannot let it be true. All right? He cannot accept this. He cannot let it be true. You with me there? Because that means Jesus is not the Archangel Michael, and he doesn't just bear the name, he is Jehovah, but he's not the Father. And to further bury Greggy, it says, this is the one Lord through whom all creation came to be. Can I ask you a question? Let me see if you're listening to the argument, not tired. Let me know if you're tired and bored. I'll end it. Can I ask you a question? Here's my question for all of you if you're listening. It is amazing. Who would be the one Lord? Who would be the one Lord who's been there when there was no creation? And who would be the one Lord through whom all creation came into existence? How many one Lords would we have before creation? And how many Lords brought that creation into being? Who would be that one Lord that brought that creation into being? Let's see. Let's go into some of the passages. Okay, let's see. Watch here. Our God, O Theos Emon, that's in the Shema. The Lord is one Lord. Kyrios is Estin. Now watch here. Notice in the Shema, where it says our God, it's O Theos Emon. But in 1 Corinthians 8:6, I'm sorry, notice who the O Theos is. That there's no God but one. Ufdis Theos imi is. To us is another way of saying our. To us, one God the Father is Theos O Pater. So the Christian said that in the Shema, Eloheinu, our Elohim, O Theos Emon, that's the Father. But the Lord, Yahweh, the Lord who's one, Kyrios is Estin, that's Jesus Christ. See what they did? See what they did? They took the words Eloheinu, our Elohim, which in Greek is O Theos Emon, and applied that to the Father. But the words Yahweh, Yahweh Echad, which in Greek is Kyrios is Estin, and apply that to the Son. See why the scholars see that here Jesus is being identified as the one Jehovah, the one Yahweh, the one Yahweh? Two Yuts, you got it? The two Yuts. Everyone got that? You see that? So for us is the same thing as saying our God, O Theos Emon, the God of us. Literally, it's the God of us, the Father, and yet is Kyrios or Kyrios is Estin is Jesus Christ. See that? How are you going to get around this? Now, to show you that if Jesus is the one Lord, is Kyrios, that means he's the one Jehovah. Let's see who that one Lord is that made heavens and earth. Okay, guys, listen. Nehemiah 9:6. You alone are Yahweh, right? Whom have made the heavens, the heaven of heavens with all their host. The Greek says, you alone are Kyrios. So who is that one Lord that made heavens and earth? Yahweh. Who is the one Lord? Yahweh. But Paul says that's Jesus Christ. The heavens with all their hosts, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to all of them, and the heavenly host bows down to you. Now watch. Thus says Yahweh, the Greek says, thus says Kyrios, Lord, your Redeemer, and the one who formed you from the womb. I, Yahweh, am the maker of all things, stretching out the heavens by myself, spreading out the earth all alone. Well, if Yahweh is the Kyrios that made all things, but Jesus is the one Kyrios, he's Kyrios, the one Lord that God used to make all things, how are you going to escape that he's Jehovah? Unless you believe Christians are contradicting the Old Testament. Job 9:8, who alone stretches out the heavens. So how can you have Jesus being the one Lord whom God used to create everything, whom God used to make all things, whom God used to bring everything into existence, whom God used to make everything exist? Because that means, number one, he's uncreated. He's not part of creation. Number two, the only one who's uncreated is Jehovah. But number three, he's not the Father, hence the Trinity. You see it? Okay. Now, you see how we know that Jesus being called the one Lord means he has to be Yahweh. Let me repeat. In Greek, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Echad is Kyrios is Estin. Lord, one he is. So if you say in Greek, he's Kyrios, Kyrios he's, You're saying Jehovah's one. That phrase is used of Christ, and it's used in the context of Christ being the one that the Father used to create all creation. So not only is he called the one Lord, which in Hebrew would be one Jehovah, he is said to be the one the Father used to create all things, which means two, he's not part of creation, he's uncreated, but the only God that's uncreated is Jehovah, which means three, he's Jehovah, but four, he's not the Father. So that's the road to the Trinity. You can't get around it. I'm telling you, this argument can't be refuted if you know how to present it. And since the Old Testament tells us the one Lord who created all things is the one Jehovah, if Jesus is that one Lord that God used to bring all things into being, he's got to be Jehovah. See? Now watch this. Let me now give you further confirmation for Jesus to be the Is Kyrios, one Kyrios, which is the Greek way of saying one Jehovah, right? Then there's no way of denying he is Jehovah God. Here's more proof. You ready? Isaiah 48, 12 to 13. Who is the one Lord? Who is the one Lord? Created all things by his hands. Watch here. Hear me, O Jacob, even Israel, whom I called. I am he, I am the first and the last. Now watch, guys. Also, my hand founded the earth, and my right hand spread out the heavens. When I call to them, they stand together. You notice it? The first and the last, he made the heavens and the earth by his hands. Now, God is not a physical being. Note, hand means power. When you speak of hands, means his unlimited power. That's why it's plural. And he sustains all things, right? Revelation 1, 17, 18. Who is the first and the last? And who made the heavens and the earth by his hands? Revelation 1, 17, 18. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet like a dead man. And he placed his right hand on me, saying, do not fear, I am the first and the last, and the living one. I was dead. The first and the last died. But the first and the last is Jehovah. And Jehovah made the earth and the heavens by his hands. Right hand and his left one. That's another line of evidence. But right here, Colossians 1, 13, 18, Christ is the one. Oh my goodness, so much. They made all things, right? Give me a second, guys, as I go through this article and correct it. I got to correct this article. Hold on. Never mind, I'll find. Let it sink in. If Jehovah's the first and last, and he made the heavens and the earth by his hands, but then Christ says he's the first and last who died. And then we're going to see the Father glorifying him and saying, you, my son, made the heavens by your hands, and quotes a psalm about Jehovah and applies it to the Son. Why do we even have Greg Staffords? Why do they exist? Why are they around? What purpose do they serve? The Bible buries them. The Bible exposes them. The Bible humiliates them. You with me there? It's over for them. God, having spoken long ago to the fathers and the prophets in many portions, many ways, and these last days spoke to us in his Son. Now watch this. Right? Whom he appointed heir of all things, through whom also he made the worlds, who is the radiance of his glory, the exact representation of his nature, upholds all things by the word of his power. Can I ask you a question? Can Greggy show you a single verse in the Hebrew Bible where God has assigned a creature to sustain all creation, meaning sustaining himself as well? What kind of power must Jesus have that by his powerful word, his command, his voice, he keeps all creation alive, preserves every created thing in the whole creation alive, and is guiding it by his word? Now, if we follow Stafford's logic, that means Christ must be sustaining himself if he's part of all things. You see the dilemma here? How does it make sense to have the created Archangel Michael sustaining everything, which means he's also sustaining himself, giving himself life? Does that make sense? You see how stupid this position is? But now watch how bad it gets. Who, having accomplished cleansing for sin, sat at the right hand of the Majesty on high. Now, in Hebrews 1:8-12, the Father is speaking to the Son. And Stafford doesn't deny it, but he explains it away. So here, the Father is now speaking to the Son. You, Lord, in the beginning founded the earth. And the earth and the heavens are the work of your hands. The Father just said to the Son, you are that Lord. Hebrews 1:10-12. Read the context, 8-12. Father speaking to the Son. And he says to the Son, you are the Lord. And at the beginning of what? The Father is saying, Jesus is the one who created in Genesis 1. Founded the earth. The heavens, plural, all of the heavens, are the work of your hands. Wait, the heavens are the work of the Son's hands? They will perish, but you remain. And you're unlike creation. You never wear out, decay. You remain the same, even though creation is decaying and changing. They all will wear out like a garment, and like a mantle, you'll roll them up. So who's changing creation? Overseeing creation, controlling it? You, the Son, who is the Lord. Like a garment, they'll also be changed, but you are the same, and your years will not come to an end. Now, you know why this is astonishing? The Father took Psalm 102, a psalm about Yahweh. A psalm about Yahweh, folks. A prayer of the afflicted when he's faint and pours out his complaint before Yahweh. Oh, Yahweh, hear my prayer. Psalm 102:1 and verse 12 and 25-27. But you, O Yahweh, abide forever. And the Father took these words and applied it to his Son to glorify his Son as who? Of old, you founded the earth. But here it's Yahweh. Over here it's the Son. And the heavens are the work of your hands. Even they will perish, but you'll remain. And all of them will wear out like a garment. Like clothing, you will change them. They'll be changed, but you are the same, and yours will not come to an end. Can it be any clearer? The Father just identified Jesus as that one Lord Yahweh. Why does Stafford even exist? Why does his cult even exist? Why do Mormons exist? Why do Jehovah's Witnesses exist? Can you leave the Bible alone, leave the God of the Bible alone, if you don't want to worship him as he is? Can you leave that God alone? No? Hold on. Let me go through this again so you understand what I'm talking about. Watch. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Elohim. Okay. In the beginning, right? Okay. Genesis 1:31. God saw all that he had made. Not him and Archangel Michael. And behold, it was very good. There was evening, there was morning, the sixth day. Okay, now who made them? Genesis 2:1-3. Thus the heavens and earth were complete and all their hosts. And on the seventh day, God completed his work which he had done. Let me add verse 4 as well. Okay. In the beginning, right? In the beginning. See? God, in the beginning. God saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good, and there was evening, morning, sixth day. Okay. The heavens and the earth were completed and all their hosts. And on the seventh day, God completed his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because on it he rested from all his work which God had created in making it. Genesis 2:1-4. These are the generations, Rumble. Seeing it, Rumble? Mary and everyone else? And the earth, when they were created, they that Yahweh God made earth and heaven. All right. Watch this one here. Isaiah 48:12-13. Hear me, O Jacob, even Israel, whom I called. I am he, I'm the first, and I'm also the last. All right, let's go here. Revelation 1:17-18. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet like a dead man, and he placed his right hand on me, saying, do not fear, I am the first and the last. But hold on. That is Jehovah, that's Yahweh, that's Yahweh. I am the first and the last. But here it says, I'm the first and last, the living one, and I was dead. When did Yahweh die? When he became the man Jesus. And behold, I'm alive forever and ever, and I have the keys of death and Hades. All right. So here, Jesus just said he's the first and last. Okay. How do we know Jesus? Because Jesus died a human death when he became man, not the Father. And behold, I'm alive forever and ever, and I have the keys of death and Hades. But here it says, Yahweh is the first and last. Okay, but now watch. This first and last says, also my hand founded the earth, my right hand spread out the heavens. When I call to them, they stand together. Okay, let's go to Hebrews 1:8-12. But of the Son, he says, don't let him deceive you. The Father is talking to the Son incarnate. Now the Son has become man. He's glorified in heaven, the God-man. And look at the Father glorifying the Son. Look at the Father, 2 John in the beginning, Marianne, everyone, ascending Pojoga, glorifying the Son. What does he say? Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The Father says, you are the God that rules forever. Quoting Psalm 45, and he's uttering those words to his Son. And the scepter of uprightness, scepter of your kingdom, you have loved righteousness, hated lawlessness. Therefore God, your God, because he became man, and as man, the Father becomes his God, anointed you with the oil of gladness above your companions, meaning your human brothers and sisters who you redeemed, you're higher than them. That's Hebrews 2:9-18. But now watch. He says to the Son the following, you, Lord, in the beginning founded the earth. Wait. How could the Father say to the Son, you are that Lord who in the beginning founded the earth and the heavens are the work of your hands, when you just read, Yahweh did it. Here. I am he, I am the first and last. Also my hand founded the earth, my right hand spread out the heavens. When I called them, they stand together. In the day, Yahweh God made earth and heaven. And he rested on a seventh day when he finished his work. Who made them in the beginning? God. See that? Yahweh God made all things in the beginning. He made the heavens and the earth by his hands. He made the heavens with his right hand and the earth by his left hand. He sustains them. Job 9:8 says he stretched out the heaven alone. All of this applied to the Son. But what's more shocking is that the words that the Father quotes about the Son and applies to the Son, you Lord, in the beginning founded the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you remain. They all will wear out like a garment. Like a mantle, you roll them up. Like a garment, they will also be changed. But you are the same, and your years will not come to an end. That's Psalm 102. He just quoted that and applied it to his Son. See that? See that? I say, oh my God, do not take me away in the midst of my days. Your years are from generation to all generations. Of old, you founded the earth. The Father said, that's my Son. And he quotes it about the Son. Do you understand? The Father just glorified, praised, and worshipped his Son as God in the flesh. Yes, what is worship? But to glorify and praise. That means you have the Father worshiping the Son, because that's what praising is. We got it there?